Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome, as it's the Sunday night, well, penultimate rounds this evening for the Weekend Warriors here at Apex Racing TV. And this week we head to Road Atlanta. Well, two road courses to end it off with Road America and then Road Atlanta tonight. But let's have a look at the championship standings before we get into proceedings for night. Qualifying ongoing in the background right now. Christian Kabanka leads the way. I mean, he's been dominant this season in Spec 1. And no one, the two reigning prior champions of Green and Overstreet left floundering practically in his wake, of which they lie second and third respectively in the championship. And well, they're well ahead of Michael McConnell, who's having a real cracking season. So is Thomas Renders, who's had a season to remember, shall we say, with his best ever finishes. Jason Sixth, Alessandrini, Hamanda, Soto, and Zerves running out your top 10, although keep half an eye on Alexander Wenger in 11th because he has come on board only recently and throwing great shapes. Benjamin Harris, he leads Spec 2, but that margin has been dwindling across the season. See, Paul Stevens has cut it down to just over 30 points. With Jeff Saunders lying in third, Fernandez fourth, then it's Bottas, Rouge, Stano, Scriven, Montgomery, and Rick Wishen lying in 10th. And again, that 11th place driver, one to watch out for, of Nico Witcher, another new driver has come on board and really throwing some shapes out there. As for Masters, well, it's been another dominant display here. Jörg Marni, and let's not forget, this driver has not just finished, won his category, but also Masters as a whole. They have finished on the podium overall. I'm having to count it up because it's so many. 6 times this season, including last time out, Phillip Island. Jörg Marni took the overall victory. I mean, some may be surprised that he's only 130 points nearly ahead of Alan Degassius. However, it's just been that absolute dominance, and Degassius has only really come alive the second half of the season, registering so many seconds. Antonio Race lies in third. There's Murakami, Coffee, Ray, Toms, Brewster, Laurie, and Borbot ran out the top 10 there. But well, joining me now, a man who definitely does not put the petite into Petit Le Mans, Charles Bachal. Welcome.
Jeez, thanks, Neil. Miss 1 week, I come back and I just get all kind of grief. And I miss Jörg Marni. a master driver race, which is what I've just been hoping for. And I've just obviously team duties kept me from being here last week. But man, obviously, what a great drive. And this is, as we're sitting here looking at qualifying here at Road Atlanta, I'm reminded of the last time I think we were at Road Atlanta. It was one of the craziest races we've ever had in Formula Ford, where we had at one point in time the top 6 drivers were all Masters drivers. We had a 6-car collision amongst the lead pack coming out of the turn 10 and 11, the back end chicane, as we see as where they're Jason Green heading down to that section of track now. So just a crazy race, and it wouldn't surprise me if we had another one very similar today.
It wouldn't surprise me either. You're not wrong there. I mean, it's just been one of those seasons that you can feel like something like that brewing. It was Antonio Racing, well, he made his way through that melee of that big incident, you know, coming out of the chicane just before the Fox Factory Bridge, and well, in the end, he just walked all his way to victory as there was no one left standing to even challenge him. I think they were already something like about 5 or 6 seconds clear of the chasing pack behind. So, well, I mean, if we see something like that again today, I mean, who's going to make it through? However, look who's top of the timing sheets though, Charles. Yang Lin. That's someone to really be reckoned with.
Yeah, Yangchi obviously is really good form here lately. We talked about it a lot with the Spec Racer. Has had some really good runs in the past month or so with the SCCA runoffs. He's always quick. He's always one of those drivers that you look for at the top of the board, and when he's not there, you say, okay, wonder why. So it's him and Green, Simpson, Kabanka. Obviously, Kabanka's just having a fantastic season. Overstreet, Ball, McConnell, Leone. So there's a couple of new names in there. But you know, McConnell obviously at P7 in qualifying so far is having a really good run. He's really picked up his pace as well. So it's good to see him up. And you know, DeGassis, Monty, and Race right there at the very end of the top 10. Normally, you see one of those guys up toward the top of the tower, as we talked about with Monty last week. But they're kind of struggling a little bit. So it looks like these Spec 1 racers are out for blood today.
It looks certainly that way, indeed, doesn't it? Occupying the top 8 positions. Luciani, I never knew. That's what we've seen in the SRF Weekend Warriors, but making the transition across into the Formula Fords today. And, well, who could forget? I mean, last week, you know, you talk about Yang Lin, and, you know, when he's not up there, you question why. They got caught out last week in the SRFs at Alton Park, where not on point in qualifying and just could never really make up the gap. And I think he finished standing 7th or 8th in the end, despite creative pit strategies, but couldn't quite make it work. One to watch out for, Chris Simpson as well, I feel, because had a great synchronized spinning there. Alan DeGassis, and I think the other one may well have been was it? Well, he's not showing us come off the pit thing, but off the track, but I'm sure Antonio Racing caught just having a bit of a spin with him there. Well, that could be Bradford Gould, in fact, but potentially. But anyway, by the by, yeah, I mean, Simpson ran incredibly well, came off the track, didn't maybe have the result he would have hoped for, most certainly. And then we've got the likes of Alessandrini well down. He's 12th at the moment, and it's just shoved absolutely everyone much further down the pack than where we normally come accustomed to see them this season.
That's true. Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of weird. You see some guys up there toward the top, some struggle a little bit, and yeah, it just may be this track. This is one of the as road courses go here in America. This is probably one of the tougher of the tracks to try and get your hands around. It's very tight, lots of very tight sections here with the S's coming out of that blind entry chicane at the top of the hill, turn 2 and 3. After that, after turn 1, which obviously it feels like you're just on the edge the entire time coming through there. This is what, turn 1 is where I always struggle. So we see Fernandez coming down here at the start-finish line. It just feels like you just have to carry so much speed and keep your momentum up here. And it's just really tricky to try and get it just right off the apex, but very nicely done there. Control the speed well, and then here's the blind entry into the chicane. It's an off-track central right there. A lot of people just get that wrong, and they either go wide or they cut that corner just too much, which A, upsets the car, and B, gives you the off-track, and they don't have a lot of those to work with here during this race.
No, they definitely don't, do they? And I do wonder, Charles, whether this could be one of those races where I see one or two drivers with drive-throughs. Philip Fernandez, that's going to invalidate his lap. Running off track there, that time will be deleted. Alcindri's moved up to 6th now.
Yeah, that feels like that's a good spot for him. That was a good lap. He's only 3/10 off pole. He's got.
Have you seen Alan Degas? He's just slapping it into 8th. I mean, but he's been there or thereabouts this season.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a whole run of third place. So second place. He had 3 second places in a row. Willow Springs, Interlagos, Okayama, around 7, 8, and 9 respectively. But it's just, Marnie's just been this relentless winning machine that's really sort of kept him at bay and sort of kept the spotlight off him. So maybe no surprise, but I mean, it does feel very, very weird to see Degassius, Marnie race, but outside the top 10 predominantly.
Yeah, it really does, and we talk about that. It's just Marnie race, and now Degassius with his trying to form a little bit. Like I said, Monty's normally one of those guys you see up in the top 5, always kind of challenging for the overall podium. But he's had a couple of bad qualifying this season, if I kind of think back. He's had a couple of runs where he just didn't qualify very well, but he always ends up, near the top or in the garage. I think that's kind of Monty's.
Monty's all or nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So we've talked to him about fuel saving. He said, no, I don't do that. I just try and drive as hard as I can. And so sometimes that works out, and then most of the time for him it works out, and then sometimes it just doesn't, and he ends up parked.
Well, checkered flag out in qualifying. Unlike other series, you do get the opportunity here in the Weekend Warriors to finish your lap off. Finally got across the line before the checkered flag has flown. A reminiscence of real life. So, our top 7, it's only Green that is out on track. And is he improving? Well, the answer to that is, he's got the fastest in sector 2 of, personal best in sector 2. So maybe, just maybe, he might be able to snip the second place away from Christian Cabanco. He's only 0.04 of a second. I think, oh, no, sorry, he is very sorry. I've just been corrected. I saw a green and I've looked at the wrong line. Apologies, viewers. As producer Sumuli has just pointed out to me, he was very, very slow in sector 2. So, no, he's not going to improve whatsoever. And once not a lot of people left out on track. Sander Bruges well down in 28th. The Dutchman, been really, really improved this season, and even the back end of last season as well. About to come across the line right now. This is going to elevate Sander up from 28th. Let's find out together. Well, we're looking like personal best in sector 3 and sector 1. Will it be an improvement as we come across the line? And the answer to that is no. Remains down in 28th. Bit of an anticlimax there. But I mean, it just shows strength and depth that we've got here. We regularly talk about this, don't we, Charles, in the SRF Weekend Warriors, where you think, what are they doing down in, 15th place? That's really out of place for them. But then you look at how tight the times are. You look at the quality of the driver that's in front of them. And I think that's just maybe a bit what we're seeing here today. I mean, having said that, the cream just tend to ride to the top, of each of the respective categories. You've got the drivers in order, and Benjamin Harris qualifying well, obviously a leader in Spec 2. So They're all going to be there or thereabouts. Let's just run you through your grid quickly. Yoji Lin taking pole, Christian Gabanka on the front row with him. Row 2 is Jason Green and Chris Simpson. Overstreet has Alessandrini for company on row 3. With row 4 being Simon Ball and our top qualifier Ian Masters, Alan Degassius. Row 5 in the top 10 rounded out by Michael McCullough and top Spec 2 qualifier Philip Fernandez. Lucky Leone has Masters Championship leader Jorg Marni next to him on row 6, with row 7 with Antonio Race and Championship leader in Spec 2 Benjamin Harris. Jason Perry and Tom Laurie form up row 7 with row 8. Row 9 is Chris Murakami and Stevie Ray, with row 10 and the top 20 being Jeff Saunders and Chris Scriven. Mauro Haratsky and Jesse Boldos are on row 11, with row 12 Andrew Love has Chris Montgomery for company. Row 13, unlucky for some, let's hope not, for Paul Stevens and Jimmy Lidbacker. Rick Wishon is next to Sander Baruch, who we saw at the end of qualifying, on row 14, with row 15 being Josh Soto and Bradford Gould. Well done, those two Americans at the home track. And Spec 1 drivers as well. John Toms and Gary Walbolt on row 16. Row 17, Adam Bradshaw didn't have the best of qualifying with Jeff Cantor. Ryan Frey, another newcomer, great to have them on board. And Tim Stano. And that's your grid. Just the 36. And I've raced through them, Charles, and I've realised we've got a whole pace lap.
Yeah, just a 30.
Normally we start on the back straight here. We don't do the full pace lap. That's why I was racing through it, and I didn't come back to you to the point of now I've even forgotten what your point was, because I thought I need to remember this because it'll be the grid. We'll just get off and run it, and then we race these straight away. But no, we've got a full pace lap to enjoy here.
Yeah, so we talk about this just a 36 car grid because we're used to seeing 50 cars in SRF, which is our next event. But 36 is probably double the official size, or official grid for one of the official races here in the Formula Ford, and this is I think twice as long as the official race. So it makes for a little more strategy and a little more traffic, and what makes really for an exciting race. And these cars, as you said, these drivers were said, pretty tightly packed. I think at the top 15 we're in a second off pole or something like that. So yeah, we're going to look to see who's going to try and get out front and be the rabbit for the race, and who's just content to stay back and say fuel. Like obviously we know, Jason Green will be fuel saving from the time the green flag drops until the checkered flag. So that's one that we'll just kind of watch and see how he progresses during the race. Obviously, starting P4, he's in a good spot to just kind of lay in wait until the second half. So I think there's a couple of guys that are a little further down that you'll see really working hard to try and make up some ground.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be, but then they're going to ask the question, haven't you, about strategy and such like. How do you play this one? Do you play a bit more conservative? Sit in your groove, or do you look to make that progress? It's a bit of a tricky conundrum at times. I tend to find. I mean, I'm more of the try and sit there and hold on tight and make sure I don't lose the pack. But you never. It's always a tricky conundrum.
It is, because this is not, there's only really a maybe 2 or 3 spots where you could really just kind of lift and coast and draft. Obviously down the front straight, start finish straight, that back straight between this turn 7 or /8 down into the chicane as we see them coming through here now. And then the rest of it is, you're really trying to just keep the momentum going through the tighter sections of the track.
Well, here we go. Double the length of officials, double the grid. That's the Weekend Warriors, and they are green, and they are racing down the turn 1, and we're already 4 wide here. Hold tight, everyone. Well, they slot that down just to the 3 wide, and they almost touch wheels. Lynn and Kabanka as we head up the hill for the first time. Still side by side, 2 long lines throughout the whole pack. But Lynn takes the lead. Wow, I thought that was going to...
Yeah, 4 wide to start. I mean, it's hard enough to get two wide through turn 1, and they're just, I think a couple of guys said, you know what, I don't think this is worth it on lap 1. And why is he kind of backed out of that situation?
Well, if you... Oh, there's a spinner in the background. Someone's off. I think that might be Jeff Saunders. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's another... Ooh, as we see the walk up right there. The Bruge.
And also, I think it's Jimmy Littbacker. No, Jimmy Littbacker has been involved in a separate incident. It's Josh Soto there in the 12 machine, and everyone just tripping up over one another on the exit. Well, before we head off down the back straight, and well, Soto parking on the outside. Meanwhile, up front, well, it's all changed yet again, and we're 3 wide. Down into the hairpin before Lynch just backing out of it, losing out big time. He's gone from the lead, Charles, down to 4th, well, back up to 3rd now.
This, obviously, with tight pack racing early here, everybody's trying to jockey for position. You can see the power of the toe going down the back straight. So Lynn was able, got passed by 2 or 3 cars, but was able to fight back on the inside of that chicane and get one of those positions back.
For now, Charles, for now, Alessandrini looking on the attack of Lynn. His early state.
Oh no!
That's Antonio race around.
Oh wow, he was up there right outside the top 10, battling. Let's see the replay here. So we've got on the inside. Just needs the rear end of the car. Yeah, he was on that inside line. I think he maybe carried too much speed and tried to back it down and lost the rear.
Yeah, it's so easily done in these cars. Cold tyres at the start, combined with where they just love to slide around these machines. And well, found the limit of adhesion there, did Antonio Race, and just sort of dropping down because of it. Meanwhile, and obviously love action up the front, back down. Philip Fernandez here versus Jesse Bottas. 317 on right of the screen is Fernandez. Bottas on the inside there. Well, wasn't the outside, in fact, as they come down into the chicane. Although Bottas sizing up a move here. I talk about late breakers. Doesn't get it pulled off though. And amazingly, just maybe slowed the car down that a little bit too much because Fernandez seems to scamper away, and now Bottas being left to defend from Montgomery.
Yeah, it was just it was a good look. It just didn't quite have the comfort level to make that stick going in that chicane. It's very tricky through there. Any time you're, I guess, on iRacing, it's when you get to a chicane, it's a little difficult because some drivers like to just kind of cut over and switch lanes in there and inside to inside, and so you have to be very wary. I think he just decided he was just going to back out of that.
Jason Green in the battle over 7th with Alan Lagasse is on absolute fire this evening. I mean, could this be? He's on for his best result of the season, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, he can't make it 4 class wins in a row this evening. Well, if he does, this is going to be an absolute miracle. Down to 22nd now is Marnie. Of course, winner overall last time out at Phillip Island, won at Okayama and Interlagos in the preceding rounds, including a 3rd place overall at Interlagos. Back up front, though, I mean, these lot aren't fuel saving. There's none of that going on.
No, yeah, we talked about the normal driver we see that does fuel saving. Jason Green has dropped down to 8th. So, as we see us in there,
no.
Oh,
wow.
Catch it, no contact. But obviously now the tires are over, he's going to be very careful for the next couple of corners until those cool off a bit. He won't have quite the grip that he normally does in the car.
Well, I mean, if points were giving for styling that one out, he would have them in absolute abundance, but drops himself all the way down to 9th. Well off pace now. The tune of a good 6 seconds or so. Let's say having to bring those tyres back into play. I mean, I know it's flip-flopping realistically between. Oh no, who's that off? That's Tom Laurie off now.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only car there either.
He wasn't. It was a white car. I'm not sure who that was. The track catch number. That feels like 2 wide into turn 5, and turn 5 is another one of those little tricky sections. Let's see what we see here. The replay. Lori coming down through the S's. After turn 5. Yeah, and just caught the inside curve. And that's the trick with that corner is even with heavier GT cars, those curbs are very difficult to manage. Especially the inside curve, it wants to kick you out. And if you try and correct the steering, normally what happens, the car is unsettled and you just kind of lose the rear and spins. Luckily, nobody collected Lori, so everybody can keep racing.
You know what, you just epitomised the Weekend Warriors there, Charles, because any other series, they would have been screaming the head off at going 3 wide. You were just casually explaining what had just happened. It's just like, yep, that's just another day in the Weekend Warriors. It's only a 3 wide. We only get excited when it's 4 or more. And we've seen it many a time. Lynn making progress now, though, isn't he? Look, he's about up to 7th behind a Gaseous. And by the way that Lynn was lapping previously, oh, who's that? That's Jason Perryoff. He had a cracking qualifying, and oh, he's waiting to rejoin the track. Although I'm not too sure where he's going to be. He's trying to find a gear in there somewhere.
Yeah, let's see. Turn 1. Get line through the corner, coming up to the chicane. Oh, I think he had to brake. I think the cars in front of him checked up, but I think he maybe just too heavy on the brake pedal and got the weight to the nose, which makes that really easy to lose the rear with any steering input.
Well, yeah, again, well, I thought we were going to make that a 3 wide there. No, instead it's just a 2, and it's Jason Green up the inside. Is he going to pick up 2, though? No, he's not. Just the 1, Alan Degassis, who's in a little bit of reverse right now. Meanwhile, 3 wide in the midfield. Your Marnie sending it down the inside. Can he make it 3 overtakes? No, he can't. It's just the 2. It might even only be 1, despite that dramatic move as Bottas fights back against him. But no, it is the 2. Meanwhile, look at who's making hay in the background there. Coming through. That's Tom Lorry. And that Lorry Electric livery.
Yeah, obviously you can see these guys that qualified really well, that had the spins of just here lately, are just now working their way back up to the field. They've got the pace, and it's just a matter of picking the cars off and finding the right line. And oh, with Bottas off. That's out of the chicane, I believe. It is.
He wasn't the, that's good. And I think Rick Wishen maybe as well was caught up in that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
One. Yep.
That's, yeah, I think that's got to be Wishen. Yes, it is. Wow. Smiley just literally just turned to it instantly and caught it all. Scriven, well, struggling to find the grip up on the curbing there and trying to get out of the way. Meanwhile, we've had a change to Lee Simpson now ahead of Kabanka. There's our top 3, but they're pulling away. Such a dramatic speed. They're doing 129 frees, roughly. Put that in contrast, Overstreet, there she is. She did a 129.7, and she was the only other driver in the 129s. The rest, you're looking 130.3s for the next group behind that Lynn's currently leading. I mean, that's a relentless pace. You could not deny it, and that's what they pulled off.
Yeah, it is. They've set out. They got some clear air. They finally sorted themselves out up in the front, and were able to pull a nice gap to Overstreet with Ball in tow there. Lynn is another 2.5 seconds behind them, but obviously he'll be trying to work his way back forward. And we see Green leading that pack of 3 there.
I mean, yes, he may well be 7 seconds off the pace, but you know, anyone who's a regular viewer, and we know especially, you don't discredit this guy because he just pulls something out of the bag strategy-wise where no one else seems to be able to, and I just don't know where he finds it from. Well, clearly, lots of practice is the answer to that one.
Yes,
but it's just fascinating the way he just can take so much less fuel compared to everyone else. It's absolutely fast. Oh, well, I think Marnie was going very slow off the exit out of 7 there. Fernandez bumped in the back of him where he just didn't seem to get going. Is this going to be a half spin? I think it is.
Did get loose there, had to catch the car. And then we got loose again. I think that's probably Oh, and then was just kind of in the racing line there on the exit of the corner, and just nowhere for Fernandez to go there. So yeah, I think the first little half spin overheated the rears, which helped him turn it around for the second corner there in that little complex. And like I said, when you're there in the racing line on that exit, you're trying to go as wide as you can on the exit there, and just nowhere for Fernandez to go. Gives him a little tap.
Oh, wow,
That's
that was a
the
big
tap.
incident.
Speaking of little taps, there's for Bruges, and I did not catch who was behind. Was that Wobolt behind him or Gould?
But they were all moving around
Yeah.
really aggressively. It started off with Marnie, so he is on board with Bruges. He goes to move out, has to check up because of Marnie changing lanes, and then we're going to get hit from... Oh, catches the wheels.
He did. Still didn't catch who that was, that light blue car.
Bradford Gould, that's who it would have been.
Yeah, so Gould, I think, obviously was on the outside and checked up, and obviously again, no place for Bruges, who had a head of steam coming through there, and just wheel contact, and then you kind of saw the car get lifted.
Well, we're now 8 laps in, just over quarter of race distance, as Murakami just getting passed there by Stevie Ray. Let's have a bit of a sit rep and work out where we are. So Cabanca leads from Simpson and Alessandrini. Those top 3 seconds clear of Overstreet and Ball. Lynn now bridging that gap, hunting them down, but it's going to be a long, tough afternoon for him. Algasius leads in Masters, with Ray now in 12th and 2nd in class, with Murakami rounding out the podium spots as we stand at the moment. Harris, well, not only is he your championship leader in Spec 2, but he is leading the class here today. Closest to him is Montgomery, who's 2nd in class, 14th overall, and then Paul Stevens is 18th and 3rd in category. As things stand at the moment, although there's a lot of people out of place for Bruges and Gould into the pits, but that's going to be to repair damage that they've had to the car. Of course, the drivers do get one fast repair to the name. Retirements, well, we lost John Toms on lap 4, Race and Love on lap 1. Well, Josh Soto just past the start, unfortunately losing him. So the retirements so far, as there goes Ball past Overstreet. I'm going to have to keep half an eye, Charles, on that gap of how Lynn is catching these guys. Well, it seems like these two are clearly working together. But oh, wow, a bit of massive catch there from Overstreet. Lynn is still lapping half a second faster than these two, and they're not exactly battling either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Lynn's just got a lot of pace, obviously, with a great qualifying run. And he's got a little bit of clear traffic between, or a little clear track between him and this pair. So he's obviously able to just run his racing line and just max out his laps. And that'll continue till he catches up to the back of him, and then we'll see what happens from there. As we see Ray into the pits. And I was going to mention with Gould and Verbruge coming in, they came in, I'm guessing within the pit window. The pit window normally is open around the 12-minute mark or so. So that might be a good strategy. I know they had to take their fast repair, but that might be a good strategy going forward for them.
There's been a lot of infighting and battling in the midfield. If you've got some raw pace and you feel like you're being held up, I mean, as Lynn is displaying right now, going out and being out by yourself is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I mean, how many times so far have we seen incidents from people just tripping up over one another where they were racing so aggressively? I know we're at the business end of the season with only one more round left in a week's time when we head to Road America. But, I mean, it's been relentless today. No let up.
No, I mean, and we saw it when we talked about it when they opened the last race we had here. I mean, it's basically, we don't have the big draft train like we did during that race, but we still have our little packs of cars that are battling each other for positions. And so, it's going to be another 25 minutes of that. I think this is going to be the order of the day until the race is over. So we saw Ray come in, and he's obviously generally one of the first guys that's in the pits. But yeah, I think maybe that's going to play into the group. I think actually he had pretty good pace in the car, so maybe some clean track will allow him to run some quick laps and get a little undercut going and maybe move up a couple of positions.
Well, that's definitely not someone who's going to be moving up. Tom Laurie off the track. That was Montgomery who was battling with there. Very similar livery, those two, but nonetheless, the 3.3 just past Laurie now for P13. Montgomery is up 11 spots, however, it is, well, I was going to say Gary Walbot, but no, it's not. It's Tim Staino who's up 16 right now into 20th. Currently has the, well, what I'd love to call him, the Andreas Bertoni Award for most places gained. Well, I haven't seen Andreas in a very long time, and I'd love to have him back. It was fascinating watching him come from the back in the SRF Weekend Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, just never qualifies, just starts from the back and just sees what he can do. And yeah, it's very similar. You know, that's what Staino did today. Normally we see him on the grid with a qualifying time, but today he decided, you know what, maybe he just wasn't comfortable with the track, and decided, you know what, I'll just kind of ride around in the back and just see what I can pick up during the course of the race. And so far, done a really good job.
Did an exceptional job. Seeing the different lines there through turn one, Charles. Green seems to be really sort of carrying the momentum, nowhere near as tight as De Gassius behind, who was favouring a much more, you know, shorter distance style through turn one compared to Green's. Let's let it drift a little bit wider and just use the momentum to carry it through the corner, and I'd be interested to see how this plays out between the pair of them, and just how much. I mean, Green is looking off the pace, 10 seconds, Charles. I know he could gain a lot in the pit stops, but I don't think that's going to be race winning today.
Yeah, I think 10 seconds is a lot to try and make up for, but you know, the next set of cars is 5 seconds, and even that kind of feels like a stretch at this point, as we see Lynn Overstreet Ball swapping positions, you know, just getting that toe down the back straight. And so Lynn went from 6th to 4th in the span of about a kilometer there.
This is the final season of 2023. Well, technically, you know, obviously season 1 of next year starts, but only 3 weeks' time. Crazy stuff. I mean, to think we're already nearly in a new dawn. Big updates coming to the sim as well. It's going to be fascinating times ahead. Certainly for iRacing, and I mean, can you wait? I mean, doing this, Charles, in the rain, in future builds, that we have crazy races. I don't think I can physically cope. My heart and my mind with factoring in rain to a race in these cars.
It makes me glad I'm sitting here in the broadcast booth. I'll just be honest.
Oh yes. Oh yes. In the meantime, coming up on the challenge in around about an hour and a half's time, we have the SRF Weekend Warriors heading to Sonoma for that one. That's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. And well, just seeing our leaders coming up on a little bit of traffic now.
Yep, coming up on some back markers. Sonoma's just it's a difficult track, just to be fair. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the next race, but it'll be interesting to see how those SRFs do there.
Like a banker just taking the lead from Simpson. Alessandrini's the interesting one in this free, because he's not really, well, I'd say he's not really bothered to make progress just as he moves up into second there. However, you know, he's sat at the back of this 3-car train. Well, when it was even 4-car train, he was sat at the back of it before we lost Lynn off the tail end of it. Talking of Lynn, he's not only caught Ball and Overstreet, but he's also passed them, Charles.
Yes, he has. Yeah, and he's actually, I think he's actually gaining time on the lead pack. So he's obviously running really well. Something there looks, yeah, he gained a couple of tenths on those cars in the front the last lap. So, you know, he's not waiting around. He wants to get back up. He knows he's got the pace to challenge for the win. But he's just got to get back up there to him to be able to do that. And he's just really, I was going to say he's kind of towing them along, but I think he's actually trying to lose that Overstreet and Ball behind him. He's actually just trying to drop him.
I don't think there's any trying involved, Charles. I think he actually is, and I think the only way they're staying any remotely in contact with him is thanks to the power of the draft down the long back straightaway here at Road Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, be interesting to see whether Overstreet launches any form of an attack. Alessandrini, incidentally, has just taken the lead here. That's off camera. So clearly going to work and hammer time right now for DJ Alessandrini.
Yeah, he's he's at the halfway point or just beyond the halfway point of the race. So he said, "I want to be out front. I want to be able to control when I can get to the pits and not be bothered with people that are in front of me, either slowing me down or anything like that. I want to be able to just control my own destiny here." And so he said, "I'm going to get out front. I'm going to lead a few laps, and we'll see what happens."
Yes. What can he do? What can he do, though? I mean, I feel for Alessandrini that maybe it's going to come down to pit strategy for him, where he'll just ditch these two that have been battling, and he's maybe played the Jason Green card of fuel saving. It remains to be seen. We're not too far away from pit window the end of pit window for these guys, which when a lot of them will pit. That's coming up in around about, I'd say, about 6 or 7 minutes time.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's getting close. So it's this group, and I think actually Alessandrini is actually helping keep that group ahead of Lynn, Overstreet, and Ball in that second pack because the gap's kind of is basically stabilized at this point. So maybe Alessandrini was sitting in the back of this group and said, "Hey, I see those guys getting bigger in my mirror. We might want to go a little faster."
Oh, good. Well, equal terms could well be. Do you know what? Alessandrini, you've sat about, you full stayed long enough. When I let you come to the front, you can do the hard work. You can punch the hell in the air for all of us right now. And yeah, I mean, Lynn, he's gradually, bit by bit, pulling away. There is Harris, your leader in Spec 2, who's sat in, would say a little bit of a bubble by himself. Certainly is in class. Murakami, the car behind him. And you have a back marker in between them right now. There is a Murakami. But yeah, currently leading Spec 2. Steven Staino, still your podium in that category right now. Master still Degasius Murakami. Oh, and now Marnie, amazingly, back into the podium spots while looking down now. Walbot and Bradshaw into pit road now.
I just saw a car off there. It looked like it was in turn 1. Was that group right there? Or no? Is it the 170 Leone? Jason Green, damage to the rear there.
That almost looks... Well, he's either had smacked the wall or it's contact-induced that. Broken rear left suspension. He's going to try and limp that one home.
I think you can see turn 5 just gets wide and just comes back across the track. And, yeah, it's just one of those things about turn 5 is, we talked about the inside curb, but if you carry too much speed and you go wide, you have to deal with the outside curb, which is kind of a junction of track sections. Either the what they call the club section, which is a much shorter track. So there's some differing things there: curbs, some gravel, just lots of bumps, and no car really likes that corner on the outside, so it doesn't surprise me that it kind of kicked him back across the track and into the path of Leone.
No, not surprising, really, is it? Not surprising. So Leone into the pits. There's Green, Scriven in there too. Things shaking up a little bit. So everyone up until including 18th place Stevie Ray have pitted so far. So I think Ray still... Hello, McConnell going very slow there. Very slow indeed.
So once again, I think that was turn 5 again, and he just was off too wide on the outside and was off in the grass or gravel and had to just kind of recollect things and get back on the track. You see him coming down through the S's. It takes a little bit of curb there, a little bit of curb there. Too much curb there. Rear end gets loose and he has to catch it. Oh, catches the wall. So he's probably got some suspension damage on the right side there as well. Oh, the car looks like it's okay. Maybe it was just a light enough tap that it didn't damage him.
Oh, Chris Griffith. Sorry, it's Chris Simpson even. Get my Chris's mixed up right now. In from that top group, Alessandrini and Kabanka carry on once again. Well, okay, right. What has Scriven got in his locker here? DeGassis and McCollin too, although those two being involved in contact, so not surprising. There's Jason Green still in pit road. I don't think we're going to see him again today. Wouldn't see how the strategy evolved for him. York Marnie into the pits. Two now, basically for the first time today. He's been in an adventurous race, to say the least. So where's... Right, so Simpson comes back out in 9th. Yes, it's going to be a comfortable 9th. Is where he's going to come out.
Okay. Nice clear track, so he can run his good laps. Didn't cut that chicane there.
Okay.
So now, yeah, it's just a matter now of just getting the car back up to speed, get some heat back in the tires, and just running some hot laps.
Yeah. What can he achieve? That's the big question. Doesn't have the drivers to work with, i.e. Alessandrini and Kabanka like he did previously. Lynn still yet to stop, although amazingly, somehow, some way, Overstreet and Ball are staying in touch with him, and
they're all fitting together. That's actually a very smart strategy.
I think that was a touch of, right, okay, Lynn's pitting. We're all going to dart in with him. With safety in numbers, yep. He's going to drag us around.
I think that's absolutely right. I think that's exactly what Overstreet and Ball were thinking, was if he's coming in, we're coming in with him. We'll run faster as a 3-car draft as opposed to going out there solo. So they'll try and get a good pit and try and come back out together and see what they can do, if they can make up that gap, because obviously we know that Lynn's got some really good pace and they were doing a good job of staying with him.
Laurie, stay now. Murakami, Harris all into pit road 2. So, where has Simpson come out? So, wow, look at that gap. It's shut down to only 1.8 seconds between Simpson and Lynn. Overstreet having a bit more of a slower stop, nearly a second longer than Lynn. As we can see, that gap has opened up a bit, but she'll be desperate to stay on the coattails of Lynn right now. That turned into a much bigger fight for what could potentially be the lead here. I mean, this comes down to Alessandrini and Kabanka have carried on for another lap. The only drivers on the grid to do so. But it all comes down to just how quick are their stops. Well, here we go. Let's get to find out now.
We do. As they're coming in now, the last 2.
So Simpson registered 17.8, which was the slowest of our top 6 so far that have pitted. Well, the 4 of the top 6 that had, exception of our top 2 that we can see just heading down pit road right now. That's Frey and Jeff Cantor heading out of pit road. All right, here we go. Oh, no, he's overshot his box.
And that cost him, I don't think he realized it immediately either, so I think that's going to cost him 2 and 3 seconds in the box.
Around comes Simpson. Kabanka on pit exit. So is Alessandrini. He heads off, and now, but Simpson flying through. Well, he's definitely going to pick up 1 place from Alessandrini. Or is he? Or is he? It's close off the exit. Yes, he does. But Kabanka nails it, Charles. 15.2 seconds. That's incredibly short.
That is a very, very short pit, and he's out there by himself now, so he has no drafting help unless they come up on some lap traffic, as we see there. I think is that Fernandez in front of him.
Well, surely the only strategy from Kabanka is right. I felt short fuel. He was a second shorter in terms of pit stop than Yang Ji Lin, who had the fastest pit stop out of anyone in our top 6 right now, Charles. So the only thing I can think of for Kabanka is, right, okay, I smash the save them. I'm going to fuel save the rest of the race. I'm going to pray to God right now that Chris Simpson, Alessandrini, Lynn, Overstreet and Ball just have a streak fight behind me, all over second place. But already it begins. Alessandrini trying to get past Simpson. Lynn 8 tenths behind these guys. Overstreet a second behind Lynn, and Ball actually falling by the wayside. So I think he's going to be out of the equation. Is Simon Ball.
Yeah, I think you may be right. It just depends on what the three that we're looking at here, Allison, Dream, Simpson, and Lynn. Obviously, they're going to, if they start fighting, it's going to bring Overstreet back in. Then they continue to fight. It's going to bring Ball back closer. Although I think Ball, he's going to have to come up with some kind of magic to make up that gap. Overstreet, however, I think has got the capability of making some good laps. Not quite at their pace, but if they're battling, that absolutely is an equalizer.
Looking that way right now, all on top of one another. 3 cars, 2 places on the podium. Can Overstreet catch them? She's 1.7 seconds behind. It's not looking good. The Herds join in the fight. There's a slide past Fernandez. Who's that off? I worried for a minute it was Kabanka. It's not. We're safe, Charles. We're safe.
Yeah.
It was Haratsky.
Yep. Yeah, one of the back markers. Just I think maybe just was a little too overly aggressive in getting out of the way. It was off in the grass there.
You see the power slipstream, can't you?
You can. You can just see it. And you see here with Lynn making the move to the inside.
And let's not forget, Simpson was getting a tow himself as well.
Yep. Yeah, so this Haratsky is actually helping out Lynn at this point, giving him a little bit more tow. Because he's getting a tow still off of Alessandrini. But once we get up here to this corner, let's hope he just gets out of the way. Yep.
Oh, no, not quite. No. Wow. There you go. That's going to cost Lynn all that hard work undone. Where Haratsky looked to hang it around the outside and backed out of it. He thought Lynn was going to cut inside, whereas Lynn was looking to follow him through. I mean, Haratsky's not exactly a slouch himself. Let's face it. I know he's well done the order.
Yeah, obviously he's a good driver, but yeah, just, I'm not sure what I could have done, what he should have done any differently. I think he knows that they're coming through, and he just tries to stay wide. And maybe Lynn just got too close to him. He probably should have moved inside a little bit earlier to kind of signal that he is actually going to take him before the corner, and that would have given Haratsky a chance to just kind of back out of it. But once again, it's one of those that, when you're the back marker, there's really not a good thing. But he did the right thing by staying on his line and not trying to move over, because that's the worst thing to do.
Tough one, isn't it? We've got Jeff Saunders into the pit, so that's going to be... He stopped early in the race, so that's a splash and dash to get him home. Let's just take a quick look. We've got 6.5 minutes remaining of round 11 here from Road Atlanta. Smoothly knows what I'm up to. Alan DeGassius leading Masters. There we go. He's 7th overall, and well, since Marnie dropped by the wayside after that's been earlier on, I don't think he's going to come challenged realistically for what's going to be his first win in Masters this season. Murakami 2nd in class, 10th overall. Ray 3rd in class, although does have Marnie behind him, and I was about to say catching him. That's how much he's pushing. The fact he's off track and he's into the
pits. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So right, that's in that case then that's going to promote Tom Laurie up into 4th in class. Kabanka's been caught.
I was going to say that as I looked up.
I passed.
And we were running down the order, and Alessandrini I'm going to say something happened with Kabanka, because I don't think Alessandrini had quite that pace, but he is actually back up into the lead now over Kabanka with Simpson basically about a 1.5 seconds back, and then you've got Lynn Overstreet another 1.5 seconds behind that.
Kabanka had a 2.4 second lead after the pit stops, Charles, as well. Oh, okay. That's even more damage, and that looked like he was into the wall there. The way that that car was like bouncing. Oh, okay. We lost it on Pizza.
Yep, come out of the pits and just never made the corner. Just kept going straight. That almost looks like a hardware issue of some type.
Yeah, it seems to like almost netcode catch a bit of the grass there where it flung up in the air. I'm not too sure. Not Marnie's there at the race. That's for sure. Right now, so there's McConnell last car in the top 10. Behind him is Chris Murakami second. That means Ray is looking comfortable for third place in Masters. Spec 2. Harris leads that. He's in ninth. And comfortable there as well. Next closest is 14th placed Chris Montgomery. Sim Stano throwing some shakes there over Paul Stevens. This is your battle for third in Spec 2. That's going to come down to the wire, that's for sure. Right, let's have a little bit of a look. So, Simpson Lynn, they're coming closer together. They're 1.6 seconds behind Kabanka. But that is your fight over last place on the podiums. There's Rick Wishen going past Ryan Frey. So they'll move for 19th. Oh,
Simpson's really, closing that gap up to Kabanka, and Lynn is closing the gap up. This, it's kind of starting to look like it may be a 5-car battle here at the end, which is not what we were expecting about 3 laps ago.
No, I'm trying to keep half an eye on, one eye on the screen. We've got this epic battle going on right now between Wishen and Frey. He will not leave it. Well held Ryan Frey.
Good catch.
Lovely stuff from him. I'm amazed how he managed to catch that. I'm trying to keep one eye on focus on what's happening on the screen, the other eye on our live timing to try and see exactly what's happening there as well. In all the battles we've got, key battles we've got going on. So that last place on the podium in Spec 2, the 2 separate fights, one for first place, one for third place overall, and thus in Spec 1 as well. And to me, it looks like Simpson and Lynn are being dropped by Alessandrini and Kabanka. And Overstreet now being brought into the fight too because of it.
I think they started battling. I think that obviously we've talked about that. Is now that they're side by side, they're just making a bigger hole. Overstreet's able to just pick that up. They need to be single file. Yep, we see Simpson sliding back into 4th place. They need to be single file going through these corners. Otherwise, they're just losing tons of time to the cars in front. But Kabanka's still dropping off. He's now 1.8 behind Alessandrini.
Oh no, that's Ray.
He's going to get that car turned around and get it going again.
Well, so there goes. Yeah, that's the change for 30. After saying he looked comfortable there.
Yep.
Well, it's uneventful.
Yeah, it's that inside curve there in that turn 8, going on to the back straights. Just another one of those little tricky corners. Curbs will mess you up.
Charles, Kabanka's lost a whole shot, loads of time. Look at this. I think he's massive. Well, like we suspected, he's massively under fueled. And right now, he's fuel saving for his life. They're all queuing up behind him. Lynn, Overstreet, Simpson. Who's going to just take it from him and storm past on board with Lynn? Kabanka in front, Overstreet behind, and Lynn is so confident that so early on he pulls to the left side of the track. There's a free wide ahead of them as well. It's all happening here. That's all over 19th place. That's Frey, Bottas, Gordon, Green right now, scrapping away. That sounds like it's.
Oh, he's out.
Yeah. He sounded like he was stuttering and just clutch in and bumbling along.
Maybe he's still trying to fuel save just to try and stay in the top 5 to get as many points as he can. So maybe he's really just kind of just lifting it down the backstretch to save as much fuel as possible.
Lifting coast there, coming onto the white flag.
I don't see the lights on the dash anymore.
I think he's actually maybe physically turning the car off, Charles.
He may be. Just to try and just get this last lap done.
Wow, drama right to the very end here. Now it was a freeway fight over the last 2 places on the podium. Alessandrini will walk away with this one. Who gets it? Lynn, Overstreet, Simpson. As I said, 2 podium places. 3 drivers in with a shout. They've got a massive battle in front of them too. That Gouldfrey and Green and Bottas battle, but I don't think they'll catch them. Lynn pulling away in these closing stages. Overstreet out wide. That's how hard she's pushing. But Here we go, Charles. Down the back straight for the final time.
Yeah, and I was going to say they are gaining on Alessandrini, but obviously I don't think it's enough. But it's with them, they're 2.5 seconds back.
Well, that's why Alessandrini just staying out of this fight in front of him. You can see what's happening. It's all kicking off in front of him, and he's got time to absorb it. He doesn't want to get caught up in any form of an incident, as much as it's slowing him up dramatically. Well, the three behind, they remain as they are, but Alessandrini is going to take the race win in round 11 here from Road Atlanta in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors. Lynn and Overstreet second and third. And something happened to Simpson because he's dropped behind Ball and Kabanka.
I think he's out too. He is, yeah, he's out of fuel also.
Wow. He must have gone. I didn't look when we crossed the line, Charles. I mean, looking at the time now, it would have been incredibly close to going one more lap, and I think that's what's caught a few of the drivers out here today.
I think you're right. And yeah, I think I heard Simpson come over the radio saying, "Can I not get my fuel right?" And so definitely misjudged it just a bit. It looks like from his time he had he had enough, but apparently not. But yeah, then that traffic at the end just made that finish a lot closer than we expected to be. You had 3 cars within a second. So the podium finishers within 1 second on track.
Here comes Paul Stevens. So this is with himself and Stainer. They've only been scrapped for quite a while now. But Stainer's going to hold out for that one. But Alan Degas is taking a victory in Masters, and Harris winning Spec 2.
I think that's the...
they're still racing as well.
They're still racing.
Of course, they crossed the line, Charles, didn't they? Just before the leaders did. Well, before Alessandrini did, because Alessandrini was sat behind all this lot, just trying to keep out the way. And they're going to limp his car home. Ryan Frey to hold off Bottas, or is he at the line? Oh. Wow, that was close.
Oh.
He did by a temp.
Yeah, I think there's some hurt feelings along with some hurt cars there, but luckily everything can be repaired. So they'll come back, I'm sure, next week, and it'll be just that more interesting. But yeah, hey, hats off to Tim Stano, starting in the back, finishing on the podium for his class, 21 positions gained during the course of the race.
Wow, that is an astonishing result for the American, isn't it? It's absolutely... It goes to show, doesn't it? Anything can happen in these races, and quite often anything does. Alessandrini taking the victory. I mean, it looks close, but that does not tell the story, really, of just how dominating it was for him. Yangji Lin in second, Overstreet third, then it's Ball, Kabanka, Simpson. Degassi is seventh, your winner in Masters, Leone. Harris, your winner in Spec 2. Ninth, running out top 10 is second place in Masters, Murakami. McCall 11th. Laurie getting himself onto the podium after the mistake late on from Stevie Ray in Masters, 12th and 13th respectively for those two. Montgomery and Steno, 2nd and 3rd in Spec 2, 14th and 15th overall. Then it's Stevens, Warbolt, Green in the end, just not what he would have hoped for. What did he finish? Down 15 spots. Bradford Gould, 19th, of Ryan Frey squeezing himself right at the depth there inside the top 20. Bottas in the end having himself for 21st, only a 10th at the line between those two. There's Bradshaw, Cantor. Cantor being the first driver, 1 lap down. Fernandez, Saunders, Haratsky, Perry, Wishen, Marnie. Wow, big names falling out here and into the retirements pretty much, aren't we? Yes, we are. So Wishen we lost on lap 24, Marnie on lap 22, Littbacher on lap 21 for Bruges, lap 19, lap 14 for Scriven, Toms on lap 4, Race and Love on, well, just as they came across the line to start, lap 2, and on the opening lap we lost Josh Soto. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First up, let's have a chat to our race winner here today, DJ Alessandrini. DJ, I mean, at the end, obviously we could see you were just trying to keep out the fight that was happening in front of you between the back markers. I was getting a bit nervous about how quick they would catch you.
I was fully willing to completely end half of that PAX race by passing them, but then I realized that they didn't have the white flag, and if I passed them, the race would have been over. So at the end, I just let a couple of them by. I would have went 4 wide against lap traffic if I needed to, but luckily I had a gap where I didn't have to do that.
And I mean, were you surprised talking about that gap? I mean, you come out of the pits. You know, Christian Kabanka's got a massive lead on you, and we saw you overshoot your pit box. Did you think maybe it's not going to be my day?
I figured I had pace to chase him down. I joined with 6 minutes to go in quali and got the second lap in with no draft and was sitting like sixth or whatever. So I was pretty confident that with warm tires and a couple more laps at the track that I wouldn't have an issue chasing him down. And I would say I caught him relatively quickly, and then he also seemed like he short fueled a little too much. I kind of had a feeling that was the case, because I was like, I fuel saved a lot in the beginning of that race, probably like a second of lap time worth each lap, and I know I bumbled my pit stop a little bit just because I thought it would stop sooner, but it definitely did not. And yeah, I knew that I was going to have to take less fuel than him. So when he pulled away that much sooner, I was like, all right, he's short on fuel. There's no way.
Well, it all works out. A treat for you at the end. You're winning here today from round 11, DJ Alessandrini. Charles, I understand you're standing by with Megan Overstreet.
Yeah, I am. Megan,
guys.
P3 overall was a lot closer at the end than we expected to be. But talk about your race a little bit. I mean, you basically were in that second pack and just kind of hanging in there. Were you doing fuel saving, or were you just trying to just make your laps as best you could?
I was trying to make my laps as fast as possible. My pace was a little bit too slow, though, very early on. The Yangshi was a rocket, though, because he was like 5 seconds back from me after he got spun out in the next to last turn. And once I got behind him, I just tried my best to stay with him for as long as I could.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did a great job with that. So what is it about Road Atlanta that makes all these races so exciting every time we come here?
It is a very on the limit track. You're either about to crash or you're not going fast enough. So it provides some excellent racing.
It absolutely does. I always enjoy the races when we come here. And so congratulations on your P3.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, that is all we've got time for now from the Formula Fords. Coming up in around about an hour's time, we're back on the channel with the SRF Weekend Warriors, where we head to Sonoma for that one. That could be an interesting race, to say the least. That's for sure. But for this week, from myself, Tim Cox, Charles Michelle, and Samuli Kumo, thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you in a week's time when we head to Road America. Goodbye.